Welcome to Salt Lake City, everybody. Let's get exploring. Today I'm actually here in Temple Square in Salt Lake City, Utah, downtown. Just taking in like some of the history here. And yes, I know that Temple Square basically has everything to do with Mormonism. Again, I mentioned it before in prior videos. I will do my best to refrain from the teachings of it unless someone has asked about it. I'm basically here to discuss the history behind the buildings of the Temple Square, and that's what I intend to do. There might be a little bit of like LDS background about it, what I'm talking about, but yeah, I'll do my best to do that. Got people following me. And then I will I'm just here to look at the historical background of these buildings that are here. And yes, they do have a little bit to do with LDS background. I'll bring that up a little bit, but do my best to refrain from teaching everything about it. And everybody in the world knows this place, whether you're a Mormon or not. This is definitely part of the skyline of Salt Lake City. The Salt Lake Temple right here on the east side of the building, southeast of the building. Let's go up here a little bit. I'll show you a little bit of something. 1962, someone strapped a bomb to these door handles right here and blew up the door. And you can actually see some of the marks on the outside. We're not allowed to go on the inside of the temple, but you can see like some of the discoloration like right here and other places where some of the shrapnel actually damaged the exterior of the building. Most of the damage is the inside of the building. It's kind of crazy. You see some more of the damage, just like there's little darker spots on the exterior here. Like I was saying, most of the damage was done on the inside of it. You see, in 1962, like many other religions, for some reason, people of African American descent were not allowed to hold the priesthood in the church. I know it's not just the LDS Church that did that. There are also other religions that taught that. But the LDS Church was the biggest target of the racial fight, which is weird, it's weird to think that. And that's why the southeast building, southeast door was blown up like that there. Fortunately, they were able to hold the priesthood, which is a good thing. Good relations with them, and things have changed. And I just have to ask, was it racist? It might have been, I don't know. That was before my time. That was before I was even born. So the entire time I've lived, everybody was able to hold the priesthood. One of the amazing things about this temple is that it took 40 years for them to build it. And the stone quarry that this was built from, that the stone was picked from, is 23 miles away. So it took them a long time to move one stone for this, because when they started building the temple in 1853, all they had were ox carts, pulled them by oxen and stuff like that. That's a lot of stone. I think each stone weighed over 2,000 pounds. And to carry that from 23 miles away, that's incredible. That's a long way away back in 1853. And just to the southeast of it, you got the statue of Joseph Smith and his brother Hiram Smith, founder of the church, brother over there, and he was an apostle of the church as well, and he was a prophet of the church. Now we're inside the Salling Tabernacle, where this whole entire organ was at one point the biggest organ in the world. It had the most pipes in there. I forget how many there were, but let's walk around a little bit, get some more footage, and I'll provide more information in the subtitles. One of the things I do have to mention about this building was actually the very first building to have been built on Temple Square. That was a permanent building, very first one. That wasn't what I originally wanted to point out, but now that it's out there, I wanted to point out the ceiling here. You see it's more round. That was for acoustical purposes, because when this building was built in the 1850s, early 60s, they didn't have a microphone up there, so they had to make it to where it was possible to bounce the sound off of all of the walls. Now, when the microphone system was installed, they put in hundreds and hundreds of little speakers for you to be able to hear the speaker. And now they're playing the organ up there. Let's go ahead and sit down and enjoy it. So we couldn't record much more because they're actually closing the tabernacle for the recital. So we're closing it right now. I'll head on out. Let's go visit the rest of Temple Square. And I stand corrected. It was built from 1863 until 1867. And that's where the church held a lot of its meetings. Its semi-annual general conference up until about 2000 when they opened up the conference center just over on the other side of the building. So this is the assembly hall held for some of the early church meetings of 1880. Completed 3 years after Brigham Young passed away. And this, I said the tabernacle was the first permanent structure built here. This is the second one right here. Just gotta look at a lot of the architecture right here. A lot of mods is just really cool looking. Another organ there. Some updates with some cameras right here. Projection screen looks like. I forgot how many people I was able to see, but you can see, like the tabernacle, not as many as the tabernacle, but you can sit more up there and all around. Stuff like that. Look how small, look how narrow the benches are. I know everything's been renovated, but look, this is just tiny. Tiny little areas. Now this is what it's called this is what's known as Seagull Monument. Now, back in the very early days of the church, then there was a huge infestation of crickets and stuff like that, eating all the crops that the saints had actually planted here in the Salt Lake Valley and stuff like that. One year, it was so bad that they call it an event called the Miracle of the Seagulls happened, which is where thousands upon thousands of seagulls came and ate up all the crickets and all the bugs that were eating it. It is, yes.
Are you sure?
I am sure. I don't know what year it was. That's my wife.
Not liking it at all.
But they ate up all the crickets, and that's what they called the Miracle of the Seagulls. From then on, the seagull has been known as the state bird of Utah, which is weird because it doesn't touch any huge bodies of water other than the Great Salt Lake. And since then, they've had some very good harvest of all the crop. Okay, so we're now at the Church History Museum right across the street from Temple Square. Let's go check out some of this cool stuff that they have, and we'll come back in a minute. Now I got my memento right there. Check this out. This is the first edition of the Book of Mormon, printed in 1830. One of the manuscript pages that Joseph Smith wrote out. And one of the very first uncut sheets of the Book of Mormon from the original printing. It's pretty cool. This is like a little printing press for the Book of Mormon. Pretty cool. Now, we were just outside in Temple Square. You get to see the Salt Lake Temple. A lot of people outside the LDS Church think or believe that the Salt Lake Temple is the very first LDS temple that got built, which is not true. The LDS Salt Lake Temple was actually the sixth one to be built, the fourth one in Utah. But let me show you this real quick. The very first LDS temple to be built was actually in Kirtland, Ohio. This is the Kirtland Temple. And this is what the building looked like. This is a painting of it, an artist's rendition of it. The building is actually still there. Just look at Kirtland, Ohio Temple. It's open for everybody to walk through. It's owned by the Community of Christ Church, which is like a sect of the LDS Church. It's open to the public to go walk through and check it out. So if you're there in the area in Kirtland, Ohio, go check it out. Now this right here is an original Kirtland Temple window, what we were just talking about. They have here on display. It's pretty cool. Now this is part of the Mormon Extermination Order, Executive Order 44. And basically got anybody who is LDS or any of the sort kicked out of the state of Missouri or be killed on Sunday. Now we talked about the Kirtland Temple, and this is like a replica stone from the Nauvoo, Illinois Temple, which is actually the second temple built in church history. This is just a replica from it. There's one actual original in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and one other elsewhere. I can't remember where it's at. On June 27th, 1844, both Hiram Smith, depicted right here, and Joseph Smith, they were shot and killed because of conflicting interests, I guess you can say. Well, thank you for watching today's vlog. This is actually the day after our visit to Temple Square, but I just needed to at least say this little ending clip. Thank you for watching today's video. Your viewership, your subscribership, your friendship means a lot to me. Thank you very much for being loyal subscribers, watchers. And if you have any more questions about the stuff we visited today in today's video, please feel free to comment down below. No negativity. If I hear one thing that degrades like my beliefs, my religion, I will delete them and I will block the user. Again, I know that I have said in the past that I try to do my best to not get religious or too political in it. I do my best to try to steer away from that, but it is something that is a part of me, and sometimes I can't help it. But usually the only time when I start talking about my beliefs, my religion, is usually if someone has a question about stuff like that. I know that some of the stuff and some of the material that I brought up in today's video is a little questionable, and I'd be happy to try to answer those questions as best as I possibly can. Anyways, thank you for subscribing. There's a subscribe button down below. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. Bye.